Hello YouTube world. It's me, Mike Circuitry, and I'm here with a tutorial on how to log your SQL scripts to the console window. So, how many times have we written Linq queries using .NET C Sharp and wonder exactly what is actually being sent to the database, right? We either get the N+1 query problems, we have slow queries in production, we're writing LINQ code, but yet we can't really figure out exactly what those LINQ statements are being translated into. Now, here's a way. It's a real simple solution. So here I have with me a ASP.NET Core project. This is the web project .NET Core 3.1. Simple project template out of the gate. I wired up a DB context here, right? I have a configuration to go and get my connection string. And just to give you a high level overview of what's going on, here's my pipeline context, right? I have some DB context stuff in here, my project data, right? Here's the actual project data class, couple properties here just to illustrate the example. Here's my connection string, trusted connection. I'm running off my local machine here. As I showed you here, the startup is configured. If you scroll down here, I'm using an MVC application. So I have an endpoint for project/index. And then I have my project controller. In my project controller, I set up the dependency injection to get that DB context, and I set it to a private read-only variable. And over here is my simple query that queries our database, and then we return our results. So this is, by all means, a really basic project. There isn't much added to it. This is skeleton straight out of the gate. Okay? So now what we're going to do is I'm actually going to launch .NET from this console window under the .NET watch command, .NET watch run. This allows us to be able to run our app, make file changes, and see what those changes are. Make file changes, save, and then to have the app be able to rebuild itself and redeploy, right? So right now I'm doing .NET watch run. We started, okay, and we got this application running. Great. So I have Postman here. As you can see, I tried to make this call to the endpoint before, right? So I have Postman here, and you can see as I'm getting my endpoint, I'm getting my results back here. And you can see here, I'm querying the project, the company, as well as the project name, and those are the results that I'm getting. What I'm not seeing is how that query actually translates into SQL, which is really helpful right now. So without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to come over to the startup class, right? And we can leave this running because we have this under the .NET watch command here. So inside of here, where we configure our database pipeline, we're actually going to add a couple more statements. We're going to actually add the use logger factory here. And what that does is it allows us to create our own internal logging just for the DB context. Now, when we create this just for the DB context, we're able to get access to additional information that we normally wouldn't have access to on the console line. So to wire that up, it's really simple. So I'm going to use my configure.use logger factory, and the logger factory will actually take this logger factory.create. Okay, and here it takes an anonymous function. Let's say I call it builder, right? Why not? Because we're building stuff. And inside this builder is where we're actually going to set our logging information. So one of the first things we want to do is set the minimum level. Now, there are many different log levels in .NET. The one that's going to give us the information that we're looking for is information. Okay, you could set it to trace, and trace will give you a lot more information. But just to get the queries, we want log level.information. So we'll throw that in here. And then where do you want this information to show up? We want to add it to the console, of course. Okay. So now I'm inside of this function, inside of this function, inside of this, and we should close that nicely. And boom. So we have this here, right? And just for formatting sakes, let's fix this. All right. I made those changes. I saved. You can see file changed here was the startup. You can see that it started the server again, and now it's running. So now I'm going to open Postman again, and I'm going to hit send. And as you can see, the magic is happening, and whoa, look at what we have over here. You can actually see the additional information being logged, including our select statement to the database, right? So we can actually see here, okay, we're selecting the company name, the project from this data, where the char index F is inside of here, right? And that works out wonderfully. And if I come in here and change this to say, hey, you know what? Let's do all the projects that start with the letter F dot order by, let's say, the company name, right? Maybe we want to, order by the company name instead, right? And we hit save on that. As you can see, file started, right? Boom. It's running again. Come on over to my Postman. Execute that query one more time for us. One more time. And now you can actually see the updated query that says, okay, project name is not null and project like with the F and the wildcard here to let you know that it starts with, and we're ordering by the company. So there you have it, folks. Now when we're writing our queries, this works whether you're using query syntax, function syntax, you're using list async, meaning, to list async, first async, right? This will actually work and print that query out. So now during debug, you'll be able to see what those queries are. Now, one additional tip that I would give you, I wouldn't do this all the time, right? I will only do this during debugging sessions. What exactly does that mean? I would wrap this inside a if debug statement so that you're not executing those SQL statement logs inside of production environments. Only keep it local. All right. And that is all I have for you today, folks. Happy coding.